When Jesse Jackson made his historic push for the White House, he turned to a North Omaha man to help make it happen.
First Alert 6, Philip Katafamo tonight with how Preston Love Jr. is remembering his friend.
Love met the civil rights icon in 1980. 4 years later, he served as Jackson's campaign manager as he made a historic run for the nation's top office. But it's a run Love says almost didn't happen. Before meeting Reverend Jesse Jackson, Preston Love Jr. helped get others into office. Former U.S. Ambassador Andrew Young as Atlanta mayor in 1981, and Harold Washington as Chicago mayor 2 years later.
My involvement with both of them made me an instant resource to the black political world nationally.
Young introduced Love to Jackson.
We just kind of hit it off and start telling jokes to each other. We had a very instant friendship, having nothing to do with politics.
But Love's work in politics pushed Jackson to choose him as his campaign manager when he ran for president in 1984.
I said that the campaign was bigger than all of us, bigger than him. You didn't have a choice. It's not about you making a decision. You are already running. The people are demanding. You don't have a choice. And so he said, order room service. Let's get this campaign going.
Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive.
Jackson's presidential push ended in controversy. The Reverend admitted to using an anti-Semitic slur during a private conversation. He publicly apologized.
However innocent and unintended, it was insensitive and wrong.
Despite going in different directions, Love and Jackson remained in contact. Jackson stayed in the national spotlight. Love returned to his hometown, bringing with him the lessons he learned from his friend.
I came home and immediately started to register like I learned from the civil rights movement, to organize like I'd learned from Jesse and the civil rights movement.
Those lessons led to the launch of groups like the Voter Participation Project and other North Omaha-focused efforts to build black voting participation in Nebraska. Jackson made one more run for president in 1988. After that, he remained active in politics and never stopped his fight for social justice. Love dove deeper into several other topics. Those included the Rainbow Coalition and more about Jackson's impact on politics today. I'll dive deeper into those stories on our website and with this story on our First Alert 6 app. In the newsroom, I'm Philip Katafamo, First Alert 6.